Well, we love featuring artists you should know about. And today we're heading to Toronto to chat with singer-songwriter Andy Penkow. Andy's based out of Australia. He's been in Canada playing some shows and recording. His latest album, Shades on Me, came out on May 10th. It debuted number 2 on the ARIA Australian Country Albums chart. The title track, Shades on Me, just hit number 1, giving Andy his 12th number 1 song on the Country Songs Top 40 Airplay chart. We are stoked to have Andy Penkow on the show. Andy, thanks so much for coming on.
Mate, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, wow. Sad Love Songs came out December of 2018. Looking at you on the cover of that to the one on Shades on Me, Andy, it looks like a totally, completely different guy.
Yeah, it's the progression of the hair, isn't it? It's been growing over the last 10 years.
Yeah, the hair's longer, the beard's a little thicker. I mean, it just, yeah. I was like, is that's the same guy? It's amazing.
I think you know what's funny? I get that pretty often. So it's people can't believe it's me from the beginning to now.
Yeah. Well, you're in Toronto. Tell us, how did this weird Canadian connection? Because we're in America here. You're an Australian. You were born and raised in Australia. How did we get to Canada? Or how did we get this connection?
Oh, it's been a journey for me to get over here. We've been planning this project, this album, for the last 2 years. So I'm finally here promoting it. But in between times, we've been writing via Zoom back home. And I've been over twice since, the project started. So, it's kind of one of those things. I feel quite connected to Canada and in the States as well, because I'm influenced by a lot of their music, as a kid growing up listening to a lot of Canadian artists and American artists. So it's nice to be here and making music for myself.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned it, writing. The last couple of years, boy, every song I looked up, you wrote it with someone else. How have you done all this writing with all these different people?
It's been, to be honest with you, I don't even know. It's just been one of those things. It's like a whirlwind, Looking back on the last probably 8 years, 10 years, it's all kind of really, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's really taken off for me. But I'm so lucky because I've been able to write with a bunch of amazing co-writers, some of Australia's best songwriters and some of the best in the world. So I keep pinching myself every day. Yeah,
it's crazy when you go check him out. Well, you were into music young, and then you took like a 10-year hiatus. What got you back going?
Oh, man, I think for me, I was working and living the everyday grind as we do. And I just, I always felt like there was something missing. Music for me has always been something that's been part of my life. Even when I wasn't doing it professionally, I was still, listening to music and going to see concerts and rehearsing and that kind of stuff. So I feel like it just pulled me back in, and I'm so grateful that it did, because here I am now, with 12 number ones, and I've had 2 high-selling albums in Australia. So I really can't believe it, to be honest.
Oh, it's just, what you've done since 2018, you probably got to pinch yourself a couple times.
I need a holiday, I think. It's been a lot of hard work, but I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of interviews. You were influenced, or you listened to a lot of Slim Dusky.
Yes.
He's an Australian, what do you call it, bushwater songs?
Yeah, well, bush ballads. So
bush ballads.
He was like an iconic Australian singer-songwriter. Unfortunately, we lost him a few years ago now. But my grandfather was a truck driver, so he used to play a lot of Slim Dusty, and I actually got gifted all my grandfather's records of Slim Dusty when he passed away, which is I've still got. But for me, I'm influenced by a lot of different styles of Australian music, and even traditional stuff. I was lucky enough to get a Golden Guitar nomination, which is like a country music award and a nomination in Australia 2 years ago for a bush ballad that I wrote. So it's something that I've really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, he's been nominated a couple times for Golden Guitar. I was going to ask you about that, because I was like, well, is that for guitar playing, or what is? So it's actually it's just the name of the award.
It's the name of the award, yeah. So basically, it's like a CMAA award, so equivalent to an American Music Award or something like that. It's one of the biggest country music awards in Australia. Well, it is the biggest one. So to have a nomination in those awards for me was definitely a pinch myself moment. You dream of that as a kid. So it was great.
Yeah. Go check Andy out. Andy Penkow. It's PENKOW.com. He's on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. He's everywhere. You can go to Spotify, listen. He's got 4 albums out there. His brand new one, Shades on Me, just came out on May 10th, and the current single is #1 right now. So go and check that out. Well, you were doing Bush ballads, and then this Shades on Me is completely kind of, I mean, you still kind of sound the same, but it's a lot more contemporary album. Yeah. Was that were you trying to do something different? What were you thinking here, Andy?
For me, I look at every single project that I'm working on. I really want to stretch the boundaries, and I really want to make something completely different to the last one. The last album that I released was definitely a little bit of an alternative kind of country feel, and I wanted to really make a contemporary album with this one. So we enlisted Sean Moore, who's an amazing Canadian producer, and that's what he's known for, that contemporary sound. So, I feel like it's got that feel, but it's still got a little bit of me in there as well, which is really important for me. I don't want to stray away too much from myself. I still want to present myself as an artist and stretch every boundary that I can do.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. It's an awesome album. Shades on Me. Go and check it out. We're going to talk about a couple of the songs on it, but you were in Iceland a couple weeks ago. What were you doing there?
Yeah, mate, I've been getting around this year. I've been in Canada for, I think we've been over here for 5 months now, but we jumped over to Iceland for in between time. So it was I had a week off, and I thought, it's only a 6-hour flight from Toronto. So we flew over, and I did a bit of media over there, and that was the release week of the album. So I thought it'd be nice to be in Iceland to release the album. But it's just a magic place. I definitely recommend going there. The only thing is you can't sleep very well because it's light 22 hours a day. Oh, jeez. Yeah, there's no nighttime.
Wow. So anytime you wake up and the sun's out, that's crazy.
It's a very weird thing, because you you literally don't know what time of the day it is.
Wow. You've been in Canada for 5 months.
Yes.
Are we gonna? Where are you staying? Do you have a place? Are we moving there? Or what's the plan?
Yeah, we've been moving around a fair bit, to be honest. I'm currently in Mississauga, just outside of Toronto. I've been in downtown Toronto a fair bit. Just in between, being close to Toronto because a lot of the media stuff has happened there. But we've travelled up to Timmins. Shania Twain's home territory, which was a lot of fun. Played some shows up there, and we did a radio interview and a bunch of television stuff. So I've been on my toes since I've been here. It's been busy.
Yeah, in Ontario, I've probably interviewed 100 Canadian artists from Barrie, Ontario. I was like, is every other person a musician in Ontario? It's crazy.
There's, just like in the States too, when I go to national stuff, there's so much talent. It's crazy. But for me, I feel, some people get intimidated by that, but I feel inspired by it. I love being around other musicians. I love hearing other people perform because there's so many things that you can pick up on listening to other musos.
Yeah, there's a lot of music going on in Ontario. That's for sure. Well, Shades on Me, I'm listening to the album, and you have a song called 1993 that you did a while back, which is, like a throwback to 1993, which is kind of cool. I saw the video, and I saw you said that the guy in the video is actually your dad.
Yeah, so my dad's starred in the video. So everywhere I go now, to the award shows and stuff, they all ask about my dad. He's the superstar here, not me.
That's pretty funny. It's kind of cool if you go and watch the video.
For sure, it was a nostalgic video because I had my dad, and the car that I learned to drive in as well is in that video. So,
oh wow! So that's actually your car too, or?
Yeah, we've got a 1981 Toyota Corolla, so we still got it.
That's hilarious. Well, and then on the new album, you have a song called 2062.
Yeah,
and this is
jump to the future.
Yeah, so you're jumping into the future, and this is, talk about a twist of a song. It's like banjo and synth, or where did this come from?
Yeah, it's a bunch of different things, this song. I feel like having 1993 on the last album, I wanted a song referencing a year. So I thought, let's go forward, let's bring it forward. So, and I wanted it to be a fun song. I wanted it to be something that people can really, toe tap to. So that's what it turned out to be.
Yeah, it's a great song, and I mean, do you have a lot of banjo in a lot of your songs?
Yes, in this album we do, yeah. And I feel like that's Sean's signature style. That's why I went with him. You know, with my traditional stuff, not so much banjo happening, but I felt like I needed something a little bit different in this album. So nearly every song's got some banjo on there dancing around in the background.
Yeah, I was like, man, he must love the banjo or something, but it's the producer too, so.
Exactly. But I feel like, you know, I was really referencing Keith Urban's earlier stuff when he moved to Nashville, and he loved having that banjo sound in the background, you know, like the early 2000s stuff. So that's what we referenced as well.
Yeah. And then Love That Way Again with this Jessica Soul. She's an Ontario artist.
She is, yeah. I'm so lucky that Jessica worked with me on the project. She actually wrote 2 songs with me on the album as well as that one, and she sung the duet with me. So I feel really lucky to spend some time with her. She's a young artist, but a very interesting artist with a beautiful voice, and I learn a lot from her, definitely. So, yeah, really happy with the duet.
Yeah, well, and you're listed as an independent artist. What's this this MRVP Studios, Andy?
Yeah, so that's my management team. They basically can't do anything without them, to be honest. They do all of my scheduling. They tell me where to be and who I'm talking to. And, you know, obviously being an independent artist is quite challenging. But when you get to a certain level of you know, success and whatnot, it's hard to keep on track with everything. So yeah. I'm so grateful that they're in charge of my life, really.
Well, yeah, and you're also working with Blue Shamrock. That's how we got hooked up with you, with Steven. And
yeah, Steven's great.
And then what's MGM Music?
So MGM is my distributor back in Australia.
Okay.
They own the distributing rights for the album. I've been working with those guys for a long time. They're an independent distributor, so you know, they're the ones that get the music to Spotify and get the music to the record stores for me.
Because how are you still like an independent artist? How are you not signed with somebody?
I've been offered a couple of contracts, but for me, I feel like I don't want to be pigeonholed too much. I feel like as a creative person, you know, you've got to be very careful when you're signing a contract, because, you know, you can lose a lot of that. I don't want to lose any of that with what I'm doing. Especially, you know, look at what Taylor Swift done. She said no to every contract because they wanted to change her. So I feel like when the right one pops up, I will definitely take it. But it's doing me well at the moment.
Yeah. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, Andy, because it's working. That's for sure. Go and check Andy out. He's at andypenkow.com. He's on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Go to Spotify. Check out all of his stuff. Shades on Me, his latest album, is out right now. Because, yeah, that MRVP Studios, I looked their Instagram page up, and it's got you and this Clarissa Vicente. Yes.
So they look after Clarissa as well. She's an actress and a model and all that kind of stuff. So she's awesome. She's been in a couple of my music videos as well.
Okay. Because I was like, well, that's kind of odd. They got a musician guy and an actress or whatever she's doing. But you mentioned
the creative agency.
Yeah, it's very creative. You mentioned the golden guitar, but I mean, when we talked about you earlier on the show, when you go to Andy's website, if you go to About, it's just like 2 pages of stuff that he's won in the last couple of years. It's insane. A 2023 Gold Guitar nominee. He's got 3 People's Choice Awards, 4 ICMAs. He's a TSA winner, 2 top 3 ARIA albums. The new one was number 2. He's got 12 number 1 hits. I mean, it's very impressive, Andy, what you've been able to pull off. What do you think it's been? How do you think you have touched a nerve with people?
You know what? For me, at the end of the day, you don't do it for all that stuff. You do it because of the love of music.
Yeah.
You know, I started this journey because of my connection with music as a kid and growing up around music. My grandmother was an opera singer, so I've been around it my whole life. But I think I just try and be myself and be relatable. And you know, when I do my shows and stuff, I really make it feel like everybody's a part of the show. You know, I'll spend an hour or 2 after the show making sure I say good day to everybody and sign autographs and do whatever they want. You know, like I feel like that's really important, and that's half of being an artist is being able to connect with your audience, because without your audience, you're nobody who's listening to your music.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
owe it to them.
Yeah, I saw where you said that people have been really nice to you in Canada. I mean, is there a lot of Australians wandering around Canada, or what do they think of you there?
It's to be honest with you, it's a challenging place for musicians, for international musicians, because to be able to release music in Canada, you have to be CanCon qualified. So for me, this whole album is CanCon qualified. So it's produced by Canadian, and all the songs have co-writes by Canadians, and it's all Canadian musicians playing it, which is great. And I feel very welcomed here. You know, I feel like I've got a bunch of friends here anyway, but I feel like they've been so accepting to my music and my style, because it's not the traditional country style. You know, it's not a Nashville sound. It's nothing like that. It's very unique. So I feel like they've really embraced it, which has been really cool.
Yeah, it is a very unique album. It's an amazing album. Not a bad track on it. Go and check it out. Shades on Me by Andy Penkow. The hair. I mean, have we cut the hair since like 2018? Or are we going to let it go all the way to the ground? What's the plan?
Oh, mate, I get asked this question every interview. To be honest with you, it's one of those things, like, I've gone way too past. I've gone past the threshold now. It's got so long, I'm too scared to cut it. But my mum keeps telling me, when are you going to get a haircut? But, you know, for me, I'm just going to keep growing it until one day I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, time to cut it off.
He's got it down now. We see him on Zoom, but on the music video for Shades on Me, you got it up. So we actually wanted to trick everyone with the music video and tie it up. So that's what we did. Yeah, he's got a hat on for a while, so you're like, oh, maybe he cut his hair, but no,
you got to keep him guessing, don't you? That's the thing.
Exactly. Where did you shoot that? Was that in Canada?
Yeah, so we actually shot the music video last year when I came over with 2000 Studios, a young kid who actually does documentaries more than music videos. But he done all of my last 3 videos all last year, and we shot it around the Great Lakes, and it was just at the end of winter when we had to try and make it look like it was summer. So it was about -2 degrees. It was absolutely freezing. Let me tell you.
Oh, geez. Well, yeah, you made it look like summer, so he did a good job.
We tried our best. I was freezing. I was freezing, but and especially coming from Australia too, because we were 40 degrees. Coming from 40 to 2 degrees was definitely a huge shock to the body.
Yeah, you probably had to buy a coat since you've been in Toronto.
I've had a few coats, yeah, but I think it's getting warmer now, so it feels a little bit more like home now. We're sitting at about 20 degrees now, which is nice.
Yeah, summer's coming, hopefully. Well, you're heading back to Australia. You got a tour coming up in August. Who's this Craig McLaughlin?
Yeah, so we're touring with Craig. Craig's actually one of Australia's most famous actors. He was on a TV show called Neighbours, which is a lot of famous people Australian actors come from that show. Huh. Margot Robbie was from that show, a whole bunch of them. Okay. So yeah, he was a heartthrob back in the 90s, and an amazing musician, absolutely sensational musician. And we're going on tour. We're taking our show on the road, which will be a lot of fun. We're doing that for, I think, 6 weeks. So I'll be home doing that for 6 weeks. And then I'm heading back to Canada straight afterwards. I'm playing the Canadian National Exhibition, which is their big festival that they have here. Over 2 million people walk through the gates. And then I'm also a guest at the Toronto Busking Championships as well, which will be a lot of fun. I'm heading to Texas as well. I'm playing at the Texas Sound Festival as well. So I've got a lot happening.
Wow, yeah, he does. So that's awesome. So you do touch down in the States a little bit.
Yes, I do. I spent a bit of time in Nashville last year. One of the songs off the album, All the Ways, was actually written and produced in Nashville. So it wasn't all Canadian based. We've got one song on the second disc from Nashville. I feel like that could be the next step. But, for me, I don't have a very Nashville sound. So, we even went, we referenced Keith Urban before when he first went over to Nashville. It was hard for him because they didn't really resonate with his sound. But eventually they did. And now he's, one of the most famous country artists in the world. So we'll give it a shot maybe.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, and a lot of Canadian artists have tried to get into the States. and just have a tough time. I mean, we had Gord Bamford on the show. He's huge in Canada, and he doesn't even try. And he's just like, forget it. But I mean, he's like you, though. He's very popular there. So keep doing what you're doing.
If you're on a good thing, why not? You know, I feel like for me, I've got a lot more happening in Texas for me, because my sound's a little bit more alternate, and they love that alternate country sound in Texas. So we're heading over to Texas, and we'll spend some time there.
Yeah. Well, go and check him out. Shades on Me. The brand new album is out. We're going to play the title track for you. Tell us a little bit about the song before we play it, Andy.
For sure. I absolutely love this song. It's my favorite song on the album. We wrote this song about a breakup, a relationship breakup or breakdown, where there's two different sides of a story, you know, during a breakdown of a relationship. Me, or the guy in the relationship, was super chilled about the whole thing, and the girl is out having a good time and letting her hair down. So that's what we wanted to do with the song, and we felt like it needed to be a bit of a quirky song, something that kind of sat back a little bit and was a little bit offbeat, and something with a different sound. So that's what we went with, and I think we did a really good job on this one. Yeah,
I heard you say something that was interesting, is working with, you know, Sean and doing this Canadian kind of feel towards it. You had to change like your phrasing, and you tried to get rid of your accent a little bit, which is you know, people don't think about that when they just listen to music.
For sure. You know, I've got a very thick Australian accent. You know, some people kind of look at me twice when I'm talking because they can't understand what I'm saying. But we spent 3 weeks in the studio working on this album because I wanted to get the phrasing a little bit more towards the Canadian American phrasing, because that's the market that we're really honing in on. So it took a lot of time to get my head around just the tiny little things. But we got there in the end, and I'm so grateful to Sean and my management team, MRVP Studios, because they kept pushing me to keep going. You know, I thought I was done at one stage, but then we're like, no, we're going back in and we're going to do it again. So my voice was ruined by the end of it, but we got there.
Well, and you crushed it. So way to go,
Thanks
Andy.
So much.
Go and check it out. Shades on Me. It is out now. Go and stream it. Go to Spotify and check it out. And here is the title track, Shades on Me. Andy Penkow. Andy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
It's KIX 96.5.